Welcome back to Retro Ratz, and you join me in a, well, I was going to say a dark, dusty garage. Obviously with the door open it's quite bright, but it's normally a dark, dusty garage. And here is Olive, and Olive's been off the road pretty much during lockdown. And when lockdown 3 finished, I gave Olive an assessment, and the fuel tank had split. And it has the estate van fuel tank, which has been quite tricky to get if you don't want to put your hand in your pocket and buy a brand new one, which is quite expensive now. So I've managed to source a really good second-hand one, and today's task is to see if we can get the original one off. Come join us. So the fuel tank on these is just literally by the back doors, and it's split here in this corner. I did a repair a couple of years ago using chemical metal, and that worked for a bit, but now we're going to use a big heavy jack, get it up in the air and assess the situation. Well, the situation is, if I had one of those as a Phillips, I'd probably be alright because I need that length. But all I've got is this extension and that, which isn't going to give me the length. So I'm going to need another one of those. So I've tried calling some people I know who live local, and none of them are answering. So it looks like I'm going to have to go on a scrounge for one of those. And the reason being is, in their ultimate wisdom, there is a lot of crud in that. When I've got that out, got the crud out and managed to turn it, I can see 3 or 4, sorry, camera's gone dark, I can see 3 or 4 of them gone along there. There's one up in this corner that I can just about get on. Then there's one in there. I don't know how I'm going to get to that because they don't give me any room between the tank, and it's above the fuel line. So I really don't know how I'm going to get to that one. And one there. Oh, such a simple thing. And then I've got to put my exhaust bracket back on because it came off the washers. So I need to put some washers on there. Afterwards put the exhaust back on. All good fun. That was tied up because it came off one day on the way home. Yeah, so I need to go and get an extension bar. So pack up tools, put it all away again, go search for an extension tool. That's what we end up doing. Bloody searching for tools all the time. After hunting around friends and relatives for ages to get... I've got these 3 screws off at the back, which are relatively easy. But I've borrowed various extensions and 2 very long screwdrivers, both of which haven't got a big enough end. But I've cut the old fuel line. I've managed to get, here you go, I managed to get that one out. And this one was really tricky. I've managed to get that one out. So the only thing holding the tank in now, as far as I'm aware, is the cap and the one remaining screw in there, which I've undone, I just can't get him to come out. So let's see how we get on with that. So I'm going to put the phone down and do quite a bit of jiggery pokery to try and get this tank out. I'll tell you now, no word of a lie, that was a real sod to get out. So that's cross-threaded in there somehow, but I've got a spare in the new tank, thankfully. So that's out. I had to snap it there, but the old pipe's so corroded I suppose it wasn't leaking. But it was just this. I got it past that ridge and I just couldn't get it out. I was pushing and pulling and pushing and pulling. And you see that ridge in there? It was just hooking on that inner ridge in there. What a sod. It was just... Anyone who says changing the tank is quick, it's far from quick. It's fiddly. Pretty much like everything on a Mini. So the next job, I'm sorry, there's always a guy trimming, isn't there? So the next job is to try and get them undone so I can transfer that to the replacement tank. Fuel sender undone, so to keep them safely there. Fuel sender is out. And if I turn it this way, for something that had a hole in the bottom of the tank, there's about a quarter of a tank of fuel in there. So even when you're empty, you're not really empty. It's madness. So what I'm going to do now is go to my local motor factors. We're going to go and get some gasket paper so we can renew that gasket. And I'm going to get a bit of new fuel line to join these two fuel lines up, because that's all that's left of the one that came with the tank, which is in far better condition, as long as it's not kinked there. So yeah, gonna drop it down, pack up again. Let's have a look underneath it. To be fair, it looks pretty good at the back end. I've seen a lot worse. I was worried about when it drops down about painting it and so on, but it appears to be in quite good order. There's a bit on the scuttle there, but not bad. Not bad at all. So I need a couple of washers for this, because we can do that now before putting the tank back on. It'll be easier. And so yeah, go and get some washers for that. This was the this was my pipe. Look, and go back out in the light. So I had hose, I'm sure that's hose on one end, and they blacked it with everything else. And this was the end, that was the connection. Come off camera, focus. Don't want to focus, does it? There we go. That was the end, it was connected to my fuel tank. Amazing, even if it wasn't leaking. It was only a matter of time, wasn't it? But this car is nearly 50 years old, and that pipe is in a terrible state. It's just where it was blacked, it kind of stopped it getting any worse. But yeah, terrible state. The line going down the rest of the vehicle isn't much better, so we'll keep an eye on that, see if there's any leaks, and at some point see if I can get someone to put it on a ramp and change that pipe. The subframe isn't too bad. I'm giving it a good old poke and prod with the screwdriver. It's got a little bit where the jack is over there, but it's still very solid, if just a bit rusty. So a bit of a wire brush down and I think we'll be alright. I did notice that at some point a while back my suspension was quite low, and I put these on a while back. I assume you can adjust them, but they're quite high as they were, but maybe they're just empty, maybe they're not brilliant, and that's why they were spares. So when money allows, I think I'll put 2 new sports shock absorbers on the back of this. I changed the cones a a couple of years ago. They're quite good. The cone that was on the original one was so bad, it was in the rubber and they couldn't be separated. Even after taking it off and banging it around the yard a few times, they couldn't, you know, you could see them there, but I did change them a couple of years ago. Generally, he's not too bad, is he? He's got a bit, when I get him back on the road and down to the yard, I'm going to have a look, because he's definitely gone in the footwell over there, and that body to sill panel is looking a bit bad. So we're going to give him a bit of attention over there, but everywhere else is alright. Certainly the heel board is in good order. Could do a bit of fresh paint over there, but that's the same side as that down there, so that's all good. I'm happy with that. His brakes are a bit okay, that pipe goes from there to the other side of that subframe, so I think I'm not the best with brakes. I'm going to pay someone to put a new pipe on that, I believe. And let's have a look at this side. If you're going to do one, you might as well do both. It's not as bad, but he isn't new, is he? So, yep. So got a brand new fuel line, got 8mm. They did do 6, but 6 seemed really tight on the pipe. Brand new gasket paper. So I've cut a piece out. I'm gonna make a gasket now to go on there, and then try and fit the tank and get this back on. That's one gasket cut out. I've marked the stars and the screw holes, and there you go. That'll do a job. Pop a gasket paper. Let's go and get the other thing put in. I'll be honest, what I didn't make note of is which way up the fuel centre unit went. So I'm going to put all this back on. I'm either going to have a full tank or an empty tank. Yeah. Oh, okay, a problem I never anticipated. So I've taken one of the screws out of there, and we'll just put it into there. Look, they don't fit. They're a totally different thread. So whatever the thread is of the original on these, they don't fit this tank. So I need 6 brand new pieces. So yeah, that's a problem. So that's going to be me shot for today. I've got to take this tank away and now go and find 6 screws that fit in there. Bloody hell, it's always something, isn't it? Castle Combe is fast approaching, and we've got to try and get this tank done. So it's only a quick video. Poor Olive is going to get put back in the garage. In that box, the bottom one, I've got tons and tons of bags of car nuts and bolts, mainly caliper bolts, you name it, all sorts of bolts, but nothing small enough. I've come to the conclusion that being a much newer tank, it must be an imperial thread, so I'm going to go around to friends now and see if we can find them, and then we'll carry on this for another day. So cheers for joining us. Stay safe, stay retro, people. Just a little footnote, because I was going to end the video, but around my friend John's, fashionable trousers, John. Going hip.
Comfortable,
yeah. Well, I'm in the comfortable. Look at that. So John, we reckon it's metric.
Yeah, it's definitely metric.
It's definitely metric. So John's gone through his loose
Bits and pieces
and found 6 that, and there's no pressure. They do up lovely. And found a tube of gasket sealant as well, or silicone sealant. So
Gone are the days of me working on cars.
So it's looking good. So I'm really grateful to John. We're motoring again. And all we got to do now is get this old cap off. We're going to try and get that off because it didn't got a key for it. And then you can enjoy me stressing out trying to put this on another day. So stay safe, stay retro, people. See you another day.